a final whistle. I am Kyle. He is Mark. We are trying something different. This is a YouTube live. We didn't want to tell you. We want to see how this works first. If we like it and it works, we are going to schedule probably a February show to do live so you guys can come in, interact, and chat. So that's the goal. We are going to try to work on that. If we could see how this goes in today's show and how it looks on Wednesday when it comes out. But Mark, what is up, my guy? Happy Monday. We're recording. Lots to talk about in a snowy Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, no kidding. About half the world, or give or take, is pretty much snowed in, cold in, or iced in, one way or the other. So for those of you that watch this wherever you may be, I know a lot of you are in Cleveland with us with this about whatever it is, 8 to 12 inches of snow out there. I hope you guys are staying warm. For those of you that are in other places, if you do happen to catch this, obviously we hope you guys didn't get too bad of snow, ice, or any exploding trees because I've seen some videos and that stuff is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, and this weather's just taking a toll. And we hope that if you guys are stuck inside, we give you a little bit of entertainment for a little bit as we give our uneducated opinions.
Very
So
uneducated.
we will jump right in. There's been a lot to talk about since we last spoke with you. The Let's start with the national championship. Is Indiana did defeat Miami 27-21, and Indiana is the first modern team in first 16-0 team in a modern era. And what how it's unbelievable with the 5 stars, with no 5 stars Indiana has. Mark, it's just incredible what Signetti has done in his 3 seasons or 2 seasons there as Indiana head coach.
Yeah, I mean, and after kind of reviewing it for a week, kind of sitting on it, mulling it over, obviously, all if you're a true college football fan, you're probably at this point rooting for, and especially if you're people like us who root for Ohio State, Michigan, etc., you were just rooting for the Big Ten to win at this point in time. But I think the mold, especially from the Big Ten, is kind of showed true, and it's you want to be older in college football now. There's obviously ways like it started with Michigan winning their championship, right? When they won, they had a senior ridden team, not necessarily as old as Indiana's team, but they were very junior and senior heavy. Then Ohio State came the next year. And when Ohio State won it, again, junior and senior heavy for the most part, outside of some outstanding, like one of one type of talents. Now you're seeing Indiana, and I believe numbers have come out that they're pretty close to one of the most or one of the oldest historic teams in college football this year, with 23-year-olds kind of galore. And you kind of just see like now that you're paying kids and you're able to pay athletes in college football, the older you are and the more mature you are, the easier it is to really gel a program and get it all out and together. And now you're seeing the fruits of the Big Ten labor and figuring that out is coming to fruition, and they're just dominating teams left, right, and center.
Yeah, and it's just unbelievable as they went 16. Who would have thought? And everybody was complaining about their non-conference schedule. They played like I think Kennesaw State, Old Dominion. They played Indiana State. Like they didn't really play anybody in the non-conference. And then he's just reloading because he's already got his quarterback for next year, his wide receiver for next year, his running back for next year, and it's just incredible what he's doing in the 2 year span he's been there. But you also got to give credit to Miami. They weren't even supposed to be in this tournament. They were supposed to be knocked out. They were supposed to be not even playing
Yeah.
or not even in it because remember it was if you remember is that debate Notre Dame, A&M, Miami, and luckily the committee got it right. They put Miami in over Notre Dame. That's another debate we'll have for another time. But it's just really really incredible the way Indiana has gone about this with no 5 stars. And we talk about Mark. We do it all the time. How do you not have 5 stars and win? I mean, that's the NIL for you. You're going to get guys. You're going to get players that are going to come for the money. And look, we just got the quarterback's be number one pick in the draft. He's going to the Las Vegas Raiders
Yeah.
in April. So it's just amazing what a good coaching staff could do. And I think people need to take notes. And I know we talk about Michigan and Ohio State, Mark, but and we talk about Ryan Day, Kyle Whittingham, but it's just incredible. Now, can he sustain a success? So that's the thing. Can he try to make a repeat? Because we know at some point they're going to start losing a couple games, and the transfer portal is going to catch up to them, and they're not going to have the strength they had this year, knowing that because I think they're only like top 20, 25 in recruiting. So that's going to
Yeah.
be something. to watch is, can they sustain this transfer portal stuff, knowing that they're not recruiting at some of the higher level like Michigan or Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but at the same time, I also think, and I know we'll touch on this here, in a couple of weeks as well with a good friend of ours. But I'll kind of start it off by saying I think you're also seeing a shift in college football and how recruiting is going to go. Transfer portal recruiting is honestly going to be king of the castle at this point in time, and right now Sig is the one that's really working through it as best as anybody in the business. And now he's got Mark Cuban in his back corner. And obviously we all know the money that Mark Cuban has at his disposal. He loves Signetti as a coach, and he also, I believe, loved Mendoza as well. So it'll be interesting to see how if he stays around year in and year out. But at the same time, again, you kind of just see that everybody's kind of shifting towards that 10 to 15 high school recruits, and you kind of lock in on your guys, and then you're kind of going for 1 to 2 year assassin rentals here as to kind of build your team out and fill your roster out. And you kind of see it already, and we'll see how that kind of shapes college football. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more and more as this offseason goes, especially with the fact that the portal just closed not that long ago. With like, I think it was somewhere around like 8 or 8,500 kids still stuck in the portal, trying to find homes. So very interesting kind of layout for college football altogether.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we just it in the day of college football. Who would have thought us growing up? As I'm sure most of you growing up, we didn't have this. We didn't have the transfer portal. We didn't have this NIL stuff. And like Mark said, we'll get into it in a couple of weeks with our good friend that comes on the show. But it's crazy to see how much this is kind of reciprocating the NFL. It's like an NFL minor leagues at this point because there's just a lot of things a lot of things that go into play here. Like it's pretty much free agencies we talk about because he could one player could be playing on one team for 1 year and then they're playing on another team for another year. So it's killing the sport, Mark, and it sucks the way it's happening. I think I don't mind this happening, but I think it needs to go a different route. But as we're not going to dive deep into the weeds because we keep doing that, but it's going to be very something that's going to happen. It's something that's got to be figured out, but we don't know if the NCAA is going to. What's what I'm looking for? NCAA is going to be around to combat this because this is going to be all hell if NCAA does not, if NCAA does go away in the near future.
I mean, yeah, I agree, and kind of to just kind of close it out so that we don't touch too much on it. Oklahoma State did also have a good portal year. They're basically the North Texas Oklahoma State fellas over there. But as far as it goes, when it comes to all of that, I mean, the NCAA already doesn't really have a big grasp on it. It's kind of the wild, wild west as it is. So it will be interesting to see. I think the NCAA will eventually go away, and they'll have another governing body in to kind of control this. What's it called? Kind of just to control all of this environment. But we'll see as it goes forward. I'm sure we'll find out more and more as the weeks go on. But I know them Cowboys are really hoping to get a comeback. We'll see if they can do it with their new North Texas team. I know that quarterback's going to be good as we have a
Yeah.
couple of comments there.
Yeah, and for all of you that are just coming in, this is just a test run. It's going to come out on Wednesday still. So if you're coming in, you're getting a glimpse of what Wednesday's show is going to be. So we appreciate you coming in. But yeah, Oklahoma State is. I've talked to a couple of friends, and the guy in the chat actually is a good friend of mine. We talked, and I told him North Texas, they might make a run at the Big 12 next year because they're bringing in their quarterback.
Yeah, they took just about everybody followed that. I believe it's their OC.
They're going to change quick, and he's going to adapt, and we'll see how it goes in the days and weeks to come with the NIL. Transporter is closed. They don't have the spring transfer window. I don't think. I think remember. I think they got rid of it last year before after all the chaos happened. So we will see how that goes this week. But we're going to move on because we have also a lot to talk about as we do have some news as if we're watching, we hope maybe Browns news is going to break in the time that we're here, but we don't know. We highly doubt it. Um, but we have coaches pulling out as the Jaguars coach or offensive coordinator has pulled out. Mike McDaniel's pulled out. It's a dumpster fire, Mark. It's a freaking dumpster fire, and this organization is really having guys pull out because this is how bad this organization is right now, and that's just the state of the organization.
I mean, yeah, it's a complete dumpster fire to say the least. I mean, I think I was talking to my fiance just the other day because we kept getting the notifications that more and more people were pulling out. I think we have more rejections and pullouts than we do interviews at this point in time. I know we just satisfied the Rooney Rule finally, which obviously will mean that we can find a head coach, but it appears that we're down to Schwartz and Shellhouse from the Rams. But at the same time, I mean, what does that tell you about our organization? You've got a
Yeah,
30-year-old guy, and I know that reports kind of just came out here from Schefter about, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes before the show, saying that he not only pulled out, but he's basically between getting either the Bills deal with their head coaching search or essentially going back to Jacksonville and being one of the highest paid OCs in the entire NFL. But I mean, what does that
yep.
say about the Browns at this point? I mean, does it mean that we're as dysfunctional as we all thought? Does it mean that people aren't willing to come here because of our quarterback situation? I think there's a lot of talking points that can be brought up here and why all of this is coming out the way it is and why people are rejecting after two interviews. McDaniel was on his second interview. Udinski had his second interview already, and they both pulled out. So, what does that really tell you about how these interviews are going at this point in time?
Yeah, and it's just I I I rather go with Schwartz, and people are laughing at me about this, but hear me out. I know people have been laughing about him. They want the young guy, but what does this young guy do if it's Shieldhouse compared to Schwartz? I don't want to put this. Mark, I know Mark have been talking to you about this, but I don't like. I want a head coach experienced guy. What is
Yeah,
this guy going to
we've been
do?
saying it the whole time.
What does this guy do? Oh, he's a great offense coaching tree. That's great, but how do we know? You should have a guy that could at least steer the ship in the right direction. I don't think this guy does that. If he does, hey, I'll own up to it. I'll say bad mistake, my bad. But I think you need a guy. You need Schwartz in there, and I want Schwartz because one, AB's gone if we don't make the playoffs next year. He should be gone. There's no way he doesn't get out if he doesn't hit on a draft or make the playoffs. Schwartz is probably gone, unfortunately, because unless the new guy comes in and thinks Schwartz could be the guy for a couple years, but you need a new guy. You need a guy with head coaching experience. And this guy, I don't like it. Do I want to have it in there? No. Or I want him in there? No. I'd rather have Schwartz get this program or team stirred in the right direction, but I have a feeling we're going with this Rams guy, and I think we're back where we are next year, either looking for a head coach or being another 5-12 season.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, at the end of the day, I think when it comes down to it, the only plus of being in the position that we're in is that we'll keep Schwartz as the DC pretty much regardless, it appears. I know reports came out when they talked about Shieldhouse that Shieldhouse will be keeping Jim Schwartz as a DC. And maybe that's also part of the reason why so many people are dropping out of this coaching running is because GMs and upper management are pretty much saying like you are coming in and you have a DC already, you can't get rid of this guy. And
Right.
maybe that's where part of the fallout is coming. I'm not really sure. We're by no means insiders, unfortunately. And maybe when later on down the road we'll find out some more about all of this stuff. But I mean, I would agree. I think at this point in time, you really need somebody that can right the ship because we've had young guys we've been taking flyers on people time in and time out, and quite frankly, it's not working very well. As clear as day, we have snow days here in this
Love it.
in this time and day, but at the same time, again, when it comes down to it, um, I mean, you need a grown man to right the ship because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we've taken so many flyers on so many new guys that we continue to end up in the same spot. Now, Stefanski had the success that he did, but they kind of built a roster for him already when he walked into it.
Hmm.
Now you're coming in, and why would you subject a young guy? I'm not sure how old Shieldhouse is, but even let's go off the fact of Udinski, right? He was 30
Yeah,
years old, a fresh 30 years old.
He's
if
like 30
Shellhouse is
something.
even close to that, right? You're
Yeah.
throwing this new guy in with basically like it's almost like a roster of rookies, right? Like you have a good defense, but you're throwing this guy into the fire with not a ready-made roster. You're kind of
Right.
asking a brand new guy to build a team on his own. So
Yeah.
I'd rather bring in a guy that has been there and done that. Seen like in Schwartz's case, he was in Detroit. We all know how bad Detroit has been basically for the extent of our livelihood up until recently. So
Yeah.
he's seen kind of the ups and downs of not only NFL but how to build a roster.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, if he helps you build a roster and you still don't feel as though he's getting it done or the GM is getting it done and you just clean house after that, then at least you know you're cleaning house full on and you've had a guy that's been there. So, I mean, I would agree that I would just rather keep Schwartz at this point. But if you're going to bring in Shillhouse, I think you need to understand that he can't be calling the shots really outside of just being a head coach by name until he gets his feet wet. And
Mhm.
I don't know that I like that scenario either, based off of the fact that you have a GM that's fighting for his life. You have a DC that knows that he can go be a head coach somewhere at some point in time if he wants to, or he knows that he's gone once the GM is gone. So it's just a very tumultuous situation here in Cleveland, to say the least. I don't really know how you move forward.
I don't know either. And is this guy going to be another Stefanski? He's a pushover for organization. I don't want to push. We don't want to push over. We want someone that will butt heads with the organization about stuff. But if this guy's going to be a pushover, don't even have him. Don't even hire him. Just give me Schwartz. Schwartz ain't going to put up with that crap. He ain't going to put up with all this stuff for the front office. If he does, then he could go too. I don't. I want someone that will take control of the team, let the front office do the front office things. He does the football things on the field, and just let it go. Because you're going to run into a thing where they're doing all this analytic bullshit. What about this? And I don't know, Mark. We kind of laughed about this. What the hell are we doing essays, making people do essays and memory and whatever the hell else we're doing? Fucking doing schoolwork. We're doing schoolwork for a head coaching job. What the hell is that? I literally I'm flabbergasted. This is how our search is going. We have to write essays, Mark. Hey, Mark, go ahead and write an essay for our next guest. Maybe we should do that. I don't know. It's mind boggling. This organization is stupid, and I'm glad Vrabel won. I hope they win the Super Bowl because this is going to rub it in even more to show how much of a joke this organization is right now.
I mean, yeah, as we go forward, um, like if you really think about it, again, now all the videos are surfacing, so it's not just us talking about it. Vrabel's in the Super Bowl 1 year
Mm-hmm.
after he was in our building. We
Mm-hmm.
can't even get a coach to go through 2 interviews and stay in our process. And the guy that
Nope.
was in our building and wanted the interviews, wanted the position, is now coaching a Super Bowl team
Mm-hmm.
with a roster that, granted, is better than ours, but wasn't far off of what we had just a year ago. We
Yeah.
had this a similar defense as the Patriots did as far as statistic wise. We had similar coaching that the Patriots are walking as he walked into. Now, granted, we didn't have the Drake May, but we have something. We have Watson, who, I mean, is there all things considered, like he's serviceable. Sanders serviceable at bare minimum. Like we have a similar situation, and we let a guy walk that just dragged this team to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Think about
Yeah.
that, and then think about where we are now and where we're still having to go, the lengths that we have to go to even find this coach. And again, I didn't even see the essay portion. I mean, what are we doing? Are we writing college entrance essays? Like, what are we doing here? I understand they're 30 years old, but they've been through everything. So what the fuck are we doing here?
It's nuts. And before we get back to the topic, those of you that are coming in, we see you're chatting. We're just testing it out for this week. So if we like it, we're going to do kind of a interaction chat show in February. So we're just testing this out. So please, we're not ignoring you. We're glad you're here. We're glad you found us. But we wanted to say just kind of do a test episode this week and to see how we can use it in the future. But going back to Mark's point, yeah, why are we using essays to freaking do this? We're writing essays. We're doing it's just analytics crap. This is why AB needs to go. He should have been gone. He's lucky the draft because if the draft did not save him, his ass was out the door. And
Yep.
now, and we go back to this point. If I talked to a couple other people and they're like, they don't think the new coach that gets hired hopefully probably this week is going to be gone next year, whether AB is there or not. I would fire him if it's Shieldhouse. I would fire him. He's gone. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. I don't care. Give me someone. Give me McDermott. Let Mc. You know what? Okay, I'll take a year. I'll take a year of Shieldhouse. Then when if McDermott's ready to come, I'm going. If I'm the new GM, if Barry's fired, I'm going after McDermott. Give me McDermott. I don't care. Well, we
Yeah.
lost McCarthy. McCarthy's out of it. We lost McDaniel. McDaniel wants to go to the Chargers. So give me McDermott next year. And everyone's gonna laugh at me and call me, say I'm dumb because of my take that it's a stupid take, but I don't care. Uh, I want a guy with head coaching experience, and they're all go all the McVay coaching tree, McVay coaching tree. That's great. Okay, congratulations. He's from the coaching tree, but we don't know if it's good. If it works out, then fine. But
Well,
he's
and
got a young.
we've seen people in other coaching trees fail before. Look at the Belichick coaching tree that was at once heralded all those things, and then you have people like Josh McDaniel who literally got fired and had to quit multiple different jobs. They
Yep.
forced him to resign. Like just because they're from great head coaches and other coaches in this tree are great and have turned out great, who's they're not only are they going to good organizations as well and have good rosters, but who's to say that every guy coming from this tree is just going to be spectacular and bring you to a Super Bowl in year one? When you have
Yep.
a proven guy, like, for example, McDermott, we talked about McDermott last week with Steve. And we've both been on, he's a great coach. He brought a basically nobody Josh Allen, who was a project, and dragged that team to the playoffs year in, year out when they were the laughing stock of that division outside of the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. You want experience in this league. Experience is king, and he
Yeah.
knows how to get it done.
He just couldn't get over the hump. That's all it was. He couldn't get over the hump with that team. If you got over the hump, if you would have beat Denver, his job's probably safe for
Yeah,
at least one more year.
because he's
And
probably honestly in the Super Bowl right now, quite frankly.
I wouldn't say Super Bowl, but I think if he got the AFC Championship,
Potentially.
I mean, do they fire him if he doesn't beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game? I don't know. I think his job would be safe for another year, but that was his time to make it that was his time to make it without the Chiefs, because who knows what the Chiefs could be next year.
Yeah.
Patriots probably not going anywhere.
Oh,
So
definitely not. They're only going to get better.
no, and Jacksonville, if they get a couple more pieces, they're going to be in it. And who knows who's going to the AFC North? It could be a team with another losing record getting in there. So,
Yeah.
I, it's just frustrating when you see all these teams and we see Vrabel winning. You see, the Bears winning. God damn, the Panthers got in at 8-9, and they have a better record than us with a new coach. So it's annoying. It's frustrating because you have all this talent you're wasting. Now, what is he? Now that you got to start asking the question, who you want to play a quarterback if you're Shieldhouse? I kind of have a feeling. I think I know where Schwartz might go with this. I'm not going to obviously take words out of his mouth. I would not be surprised if it's Watson, if it's Schwartz. Now, Shieldhouse
Yeah.
is a different story. I
I
don't
would I
know.
would venture the guess if it, and maybe this is partial bias, but this is just my thinking at least. I would assume if Shieldhouse came in, he's probably going with Sanders as a younger quarterback, just based off the fact that even if he does bad, he can still go off of the fact that he had another new coordinator, um, the roster, whatever. Like there's excuses for Sanders, whereas there's not really excuses for Watson, as well as the fact that I also go back to when you think about really any job opportunity, right? Especially when it comes onto it, like a lot of people prefer guys that haven't had multiple voices in their ear up until that point because there's bad habits to get out from every situation. Sanders hasn't had a whole lot of habits to even gain, so I would assume that he would want more of a fresh slate. That's just my opinion. Also, I think it also comes down to what does Jimmy want at that point in time with Shieldhouse, where Schwartz going to do whatever Schwartz wants to do, understand that he can get a job anywhere moving forward.
He's flirting, and I think putting the
Yeah,
Browns in I wouldn't say tough predicament, but I think with him flirting with other jobs, I think they know they got to act quick, whether it is Schwartz or, and if the reports are true that they're going to bat for Schwartz to keep him around, whether he's the DC or not, I like it because I think that shows they trust him, which I think we all trust him to be the
yeah,
to be the DC. But
and I think he's
but
earned that.
yeah, and I think he has the right to flirt with other jobs. And Mark, we talked about this throughout the whole season. If this is still a shit show, let Schwartz leave. Let him walk. Go find your job, Jim. Go find a better
Yeah, let
job
him be
somewhere.
free.
Yeah, you're doing all this, and then your offense didn't do anything last year. So it's gonna be an interesting week. Hopefully, we're waiting for news. They're in LA. Actually going to LA, so we probably won't know anything till later this afternoon, if anything. So our luck will break when we get off the air with you and have to come back on next week and discuss it all. So Mark, I don't know. Give me. We did this last week. Give me out of who you think it's gonna be when we find out the breaking news here, probably this week.
I would venture to guess that it's probably going to be Shieldhouse. I don't even know that anybody else is really interviewing him anymore. And I feel like now that the Browns have satisfied that Rooney Rule, as far as I understand, after interviewing that sham interview with that Washington Commanders running back coach or whatever it was, I would assume that they're going to fly out to LA and just try to hire Shieldhouse right off the bat. I don't think they necessarily want to go Schwartz unless they have to. That's at least how I'm viewing it based off of the fact that they haven't committed to him after two interviews and they're kind of strong arming some of these younger guys to keep him. So I think at this point it'll be Shieldhouse and we'll be kind of in sit and wait mode to see how good this guy is and what all he can do. That's where I think we're going to go. I know that they still are reporting interest in McDermott, but I don't see that ever coming into fruition. And I believe I heard yesterday on the pregame show for our playoff games last night that I'm sure we're about to discuss. That McDermott is considering not even coaching at all this year. So I would assume it's Shieldhouse at this point until he pulls himself out of the running.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Shieldhouse, but I mean
I
I'll be
don't love
okay.
it.
No, I mean I'll be okay. It's gonna be a wait and see approach with me, and everybody's gonna celebrate it like, oh yeah, we got the next McVay, blah blah blah. That's
Yeah,
great.
until he's not.
Yeah, and if he's if he turns like the Guardians coach Stephen Vogt and he leads them to the playoffs, I'll gladly eat my words. But
Yeah,
I'll eat my words. Hey, we got a guy. We and people are like, oh, you're negative about the team. We're negative because we care. We don't hate.
we're also negative because history has a tendency to tell you what this team does.
Yeah, and we don't want. We see the Bears like we just mentioned. We see the Panthers. Getting into playoffs, and what are we doing? We just fire coaches every few years. We don't even
Yep.
have a quarterback. We don't even know if the quarterback drafted last year, Sanders is going to play this year, or at least to start the season with Watson being there. So that's another conundrum we're going to have come, April and training camp and, preseason and all that. So there is a lot to be desired in this team. And I think it's going to be Shieldhouse, but I think both options kind of, I, I think both options lead the way from AB getting fired. I think and if people keep saying he's not getting fired, then he better hit on this draft class. If he doesn't hit on this draft class or this hire, he's gone. He's out the door. And then you fire Shieldhouse. You get rid of Shieldhouse if we don't make the playoffs. You do. I don't care if it's 1 year because that just shows how incompetent they are. And then if you all back Shieldhouse, that's fine. We get it, but I don't
We're
know.
we're
You don't want.
also in uh, just to kind of close that point out. You're also putting all of your faith into a pass game coordinator with arguably one of the best arm that's had one of the best arm talents since he's started coaching, basically in NFL history.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is widely portrayed as one of having one of the best arms and the best arm talents ever to walk into the NFL. Now, granted, he was on a really bad team to start, but all the reports, all of everything and even you ask literal players, literal Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have watched Stafford throw the ball, including Tom Brady, who has gone on air and on record saying this more than once. Everybody says that Stafford has the best arm to ever walk into the NFL and the way he throws it is just different. So when you have a pass game coordinator with him, you have arguably one of the best receivers ever in Devontae Adams and probably the best a top three receiver in Puka Nakua. Yeah, you're gonna look really good. So that's what we're basing it off of is the fact that he has a stacked roster and he only works on the passing game. Just remember that as you guys move forward.
I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. Gonna be a very interesting
But my
couple
hopes
days.
are going to be high for him, and I'm going to root for him regardless because I want this team to win.
Yeah, we're gonna root for him. We were not. Are we gonna like to hire? No. I don't know. Could be an interesting couple hours here, and we may know. We may not. We may know here right when we get off the air with you, or we may know by the time this gets released on Wednesday, fully released on Wednesday. So stay tuned. Well, I'm sure we'll have thoughts next week once we find out everything in the coming hours and days to come. All right, so we talked about the NFL. We kind of previewed it as what a weekend of football it was from the NFL standpoint. The Patriots and the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl next. Won't kind of discuss that game till next week when we get closer. But Mark, from the two games, the championships, give me some things that stood out to you in championship weekend in the NFL.
Sam Darnold is number one for me, as well as the defenses that are walking into the Super Bowl. I'm going to touch on Darnold first. If everybody remembers, Darnold obviously coming out of the draft, I believe, out of USC. Actually, the Browns were in the running to get him, if we all remember. And the Browns favored him. I actually really wanted him coming out of college, but nevertheless, we obviously all know how Darnold turned out with the Jets. He was supposed to be the Jets' savior, as well as many others following him. He didn't pan out for the Jets. He was famously portrayed as a guy that literally said he saw ghosts on the field. He got destroyed on the Jets week in and week out, and all of a sudden, he became a backup, kind of sat for a while, and then revived his career in Minnesota. Gets a chance in Seattle, and even this year was really bad in some of the big games. His defense had opportunities to save him. They did, or it were close games, and he kind of fumbled the bag a little bit. So I was kind of waiting for Sam Darnold to revert back to old form. He didn't. He showed up and showed out yesterday. 350 passing yards. I mean, he looked good. And again, after last week, he had this oblique problem. Nobody knew if that was going to show its face. And Sam Darnold rose to the occasion. Looked great. JSN 150 yards yesterday. That offense looked like a weapon, but so did. And now I'm going to go to the defenses. These two defenses, between the Patriots defense, who's shown up all year long, all playoffs long. I don't know that anybody scored over 10 points against them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Denver scored the first touchdown against them just yesterday on what I thought was going to be Stidham's coming out day. The first two drives, Stidham actually looked pretty good.
Mhm.
Maybe the weather messed with them, whatever. But you're looking at a Patriots defense and a Seahawks defense that have been absolute units. Like at the end of the day, you're looking at two defenses that lock it down. The Seahawks kind of bend don't break, but you've seen basically throughout the whole playoffs so far, and really throughout the whole season, they can win games on their own if they really want to. This matchup is going to be very, very exciting, and I think it's going to come down to, and we'll talk about it more in depth later on. I think it comes down to how does Drake May perform in this situation, because the defenses are going to keep you in the game regardless. But it's going to come down to Sam Darnold, Drake May, and who can win that game. It's a very exciting matchup, and both of these teams played incredible football. Also, how about some snow football for the
Right.
fans there in game one? I love a whiteout to try to gain Super Bowl momentum. That was very exciting for me as well.
Yeah, that's the second straight year we had a game in the snow. Remember the Eagles Rams last year turned into
Yep.
a snow game as well. But it was very and I it was a very interesting football, a very interesting games, and it was just played a factor. But that Patriots defense is for real. That they're for real, and they're going to carry that team on Super Bowl Sunday. I like the way they're playing right now. They're playing lights out.
Yep.
Their offense is connecting on all cylinders right now too. I like May, the receivers, their two-headed running back. They got weapons, and if they're going to make a run it, and if they're going to win it, they're going to rely on that defense. It's going to be a good matchup, strength versus strength, defense versus defense. I,
Yep.
I don't know. And then to see Seattle kind of give up that many points of defense, it'd be very interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, and I agree. But also, I like Kenneth Walker stepped up. That was one I
Yeah.
thought, for fantasy owners, Kenneth Walker stepped up without Zach Charbonnet, and fantasy owner like me, where was this production all season long? Unfortunately, I know they were kind of splitting carries and all that early on, and it kind of cost some fantasy managers some points and all that. But where was this performance? You see him score like what, 5 touchdowns in like the last 2 games or something like that. Now he
Yeah,
gets a
he's been a monster in the playoffs.
and gets a chance to be a Super Bowl champion. And and credit to him for kind of having a bounce back season. I think he's a free agent after this year, so it'd be very interesting what team picks him up if Seattle
Yeah,
signs him, or they do roll the dice with Charbonnet and get maybe another running back in the
in the
draft, or
draft.
yeah, or free agency too. But it's gonna be a very good matchup, and I want
Yeah, I believe when Pete Carroll decided to throw the ball instead of give it to Marshawn Lynch. Yep.
we get actually two Super Bowl week. But I just think, Mark, the way both teams did play, but on the other side, you got to give credit. As unfortunately, Denver, I think Bo Nix played a huge factor in it. What
Yep.
a crazy, like just weird circumstance where you like literally hurt yourself on the last play and you're out for pretty much till training camp and even beyond that next year. It's just, but hey, you got to give credit. The Rams fought hard. They fought hard to beat the Bears last week and then almost have a chance to win this week. But yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due. Those two teams that lost, they'll be back, and just, we'll see. I think you should think Stafford should probably win the MVP with all the work he did this season to get the Rams to where they were.
Yeah, and I mean he even still played pretty well in that game last night. For a second there, my fiance and I were watching, and we thought that he was genuinely about to lead another potential game-winning drive. There had Puka been able to get out of bounds. I mean, it was literally less than a yard between the sideline and him, and he would have had one more shot. And we all know what kind of arm he has.
Right.
But Stafford probably does win the MVP. I think on the flip side of that other loss, I do believe that Bo Nix injury really did kill Denver in the time frame that it did because Bo Nix is and don't take game manage. Like, there's been a lot of talk about game managers and game changers. Bo Nixon is an extremely good game manager in that Sean Payton system, and I think losing him and while all their players said that they were very confident in Stidham, I think knowing that Bo Nix wasn't back there really did mess with them. And the Patriots were able to tee off on Stidham, whereas they might not have been able to with Nix as much because he's much better in the offense at that point in time. So I mean, it's very, very interesting to see. I don't see Denver going anywhere. Their defense is young as well as it is as good as it is. And as far as the Rams go, as long as you got Stafford back there, I mean, and you're throwing to Puka. Corum looked really good yesterday as well. I thought he had a really good game and stepped up. And you know that Kyron Williams is kind of getting through all the uh, all the things there. So I mean, they have the weapons. The Rams aren't going anywhere unless Stafford retires, in my personal opinion, because I think you might lose McVay as well when that happens. But I mean, you're going to see these teams for a while, and I think no matter what way those four teams would have ended up, you have a great matchup on your hands regardless.
Yeah, and for those of you really quick that are coming in, we're kind of repeat this message for today's show. We welcome you. We're not ignoring you in the chat. We're doing a test run today so that if we like it, we're going to do a show in February when we interact the chat and all that on here. So we appreciate you coming in and stopping in and saying hello. And we appreciate it so much for the likes and the comments as well. So hello to everybody watching. But you'll get the full episode when it comes out on Wednesday. So it's just kind of a test run for a show in February. But yeah, Mark's part. It's been very interesting. I don't know who said it or if it was the Fox program or the show or someone else where McVay's like he's still young, like
Yeah,
he's gonna be around for a while, whether it's with the Rams down the road or if he. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, so he's kind of getting that leeway still with the Rams with trying to get him back to the Super Bowl, and we're literally on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. So he's got a couple more years with the Rams now. What will happen if in the next couple years he doesn't make the Super Bowl or make the NFC Championship game? Where does he go from there? Be interesting to see it because he's gonna be a hot commodity too, just like a Sean McDermott. So he's gonna be
yeah.
someone's gonna up regardless.
Oh, if he ends up leaving the Rams one way or the other, he'll be the number one target for everyone. But I also know that there's been a lot of talk, and the reason why I even brought it up was he was about to retire from coaching just the other year, because he's already done everything that you can do as far as winning a Super Bowl, winning Coaches of the Year, or whatever else. Like I think there was reports that he literally felt that he had done everything that he could do as a young coach in the short time span that he's been producing other head coaches to the point where like he felt fulfilled enough. Now, I think getting as close to the mountaintop again as he has recently probably is giving him more fire to come back. But it is interesting to see how that works out based off of kind of where he's been and what he's done so far in his young career.
Yeah, and you got Mike McDonald from the Seahawks, who's still young. You got Sean Payne on the other hand,
Yeah.
Sean Payne and Vrabel, who are kind of the older folks of the football. But it's a
But
very
have also, when you think about them two, have had breaks in coaching, gotten their fire back, and come back to have a whole lot of success as well. Like when you think about Sean Payton, he took, what was it? I believe 2 years from the Saints,
yeah.
or it was either, I think it was 2 or 3 seasons he took away from coaching, did some TV stuff, and then came back and found his fire and passion for coaching. Vrabel took his time away from head coaching, even though he didn't want to. He just didn't really find a job in the time frame that he wanted to, and then found his passion getting back to the Patriots. So it's a very interesting dynamic now in the NFL as well.
Yeah, and it's very interesting how this go how you just come back and he's a good coach, and I wanted him when he was coming out of retirement and to fire Stefanski, but I actually chose Denver, and our front office wouldn't budge. So that's where you have with that. So matchup as Vrabel once again into the Browns' wounds, walked right out that door. We had him right in that building. All we had to do was fire Stefanski and hire Vrabel. He was right there for the taking, but unfortunately, we're in this spot because we like to give people homework assignments to get hired and be and have a job to do that, to uh become the Browns head coach. So we're going to dive into the Patriots Seahawks next week on our road show. So we are very excited for that. So stay tuned. It's the Patriots and Seahawks. We have a lot to talk about with that, a lot to discuss. I'm sure me and Mark will dive into that next week when we come back with you, along with some other things as well. All right, we're gonna move on here. We have a shout out to give to as Levi, who is just started wrestling this year. Mark, get this, he's already made podium in a couple of his wrestling events he's
Hell
had.
yeah.
I'm in second place, I believe, and I believe I came in third place at once. But it's his first year, and he plays baseball and football as well. So he's an all your sports fanatic and maniac. So we just want to give a shout out to Levi, who has been doing well in wrestling. Baseball is gearing up, and I'm sure football is coming right around the corner before we know it as well. So Levi, congratulations on a great start to your wrestling career, buddy, and I can't wait to see you continue to succeed in all your sports in the future. All right, we're gonna move on to another story that kind of took the Cleveland sports world by storm, as Jose Ramirez is staying for another 7 years. As you see, I'm wearing my Jose shirt today in honor of that. He is a loyal Cleveland guy. He is staying. He thinks he must be thinking we are closer to what we are, Mark. He has signed a 7 year extension worth almost 104 million, 105 million, I believe. I might be wrong, but don't quote me. But he is here to stay, and a small market team, Mark. If you're an MLB fan, it's a small market in Cleveland compared to what the Dodgers and
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He in the time of money, in the time of the MLB, obviously they don't have a salary cap, which I know we'll dive into here as the weeks and months go on, especially on this podcast. But in just a time when money kind of buys your loyalty, he's stayed around time in and time out. He's had opportunities to leave as well. So I mean, for him to continue to re-sign and continue to take these deals that he knows he can get a bunch more millions of dollars later on from somebody else. He continues to stay with the Guardians. He continues to stay with the small market team, kind of understanding that he's beloved here. I think basically kind of going as I mean, as the star in like the city's darling as far as baseball goes. It's kind of relieving to see like the guy isn't chasing money. He understands that he's the guy here. The city loves him, and he understands that he's taking a pay cut, but he's willing to stay and see it through. It's not like the Guardians haven't had success. Like we've been pretty much a perennial playoff team for the time that he's been around. Obviously, we almost made it to the World Series. That a year before we've beaten we played the Yankees in the second round years prior, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not like for instance, a situation with the Browns where we're just not having success. The Guardians are having success, and he's willing to stick around, take the money that he can, and try to get us over the hump and see it through. It's extremely relieving when we all know somebody could buy him away at any point in time, and he's been willing to stay time and time again. Obviously, we're all going to chant Jose, Jose, Jose for another 7 years, and that's exciting to see, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's about time as the ownership's kind of changing. Dolan's going to be out. A new guy's going to come in and take majority share of it. So hopefully this is a start. We're trying to build around him. We got a first baseman. Hopefully we got it. The second and short, they need some work there. Outfield needs a little bit of work. We need a right-handed power bat. We have too many lefties in this line. We have some switch hitters, but hopefully this owner's going to spend on some right-handers. We got a lot of pitching because we're quote unquote called the pitching factory. So
Yeah.
so we got enough pitching there, but I think we need to see sooner than later. I hate that they're waiting to figure it out with the time and what's it called, the service time, or it's like service.
Yeah, per usual.
We're there. We made it to the playoffs with Steve 2 years. Had that incredible comeback, that 15 in a row, that 15 game deficit against the Tigers. We came back to win it. We're right there. If we just put the piece
Yeah.
together for 1 year, and remember how close we were in the World, cost us the game, and it sucked. But hey, Jose through that, and he's sticking around. Who knows? Hopefully, he'll stick around past 2020 or 2032 when his contract is up. Hopefully, we'll have a winner by then where we can even give him more money. But we'll see on that. But the reason we bring it up, as I'm sure baseball fans are getting in their contract.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, especially the past whatever 4 or 5 years, everybody talks about if you want your kids to make as much money as possible, you send them through baseball because baseball would just give you whatever the hell they want to bring you in. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think they do need a salary cap because you're looking at teams, and like I just hit on, like your New Yorks, like your LAs, where they have so much money in the bank that they can just buy whoever they want away from whoever they need to. Like it kills small market teams. It kills the chances of like parity, so to speak. Like I mean, you look at it from any other sport. Every other team in every other sport with a salary cap has the opportunity to get better, and the same way as what a bigger market team does. And in baseball, it really doesn't happen. You kind of just have to get lucky. Like in my personal opinion, the Guardians have gotten fortunately for us Clevelanders, extremely lucky in the fact that they've been able to be as successful as they have as a small market team and finding their way with prospects and things like that. Because like when you look at the Dodgers, there's a reason Dodgers are there all the time because they have the most money possible. There's a reason the Yankees are always where they are because they have so much money they can just buy who they need and they don't really need to worry about anything else. They don't need to worry about their farm system. They don't need to worry about anybody because once people's contracts expire, they just throw millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and then they're fine. And then they find a way to restructure that money so that they don't have to pay it for years on end and they're fine. So, I mean, I think there is a change that needs to come because ultimately you're not going to have a year like you did this year where like your Seattle's and things like that are in this World Series. Like that's a dime a dozen anymore. And it does need to change because it doesn't make baseball as fun to watch. And I think that's a big pain point for, I'll call it casual baseball fans, maybe that didn't grow up watching baseball as much as like, you see the same teams every year. So why do I watch unless your hometown team is really good?
We're heading in for a lockout, and I will be very very surprised if we have baseball in 2027. I think we'll have it. I would be surprised if it's before July. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. I'd be surprised if it's before July. It might be another COVID season where you're playing shorter games, but it's going to get ugly. When you got the start of the league, Bryce Harper telling the organization or the commissioner to his face, "Go f himself." That
Yeah.
pretty much tells you all you need to know. The MLB wants a salary cap to try to get this under control. The players don't
And
because
the players have all the power.
they're getting paid. So this is heading for a nasty lockout, Mark. And I give credit. MLB's they're trying to work on this. They're trying to combat this. But now you see, all the other sports. I mean, granted, you're getting the super maxes in the NBA. The NHL is getting paid decently. The NFL's still getting their contracts and
Oh,
revenue.
yeah.
But it's just when you're paying almost close to $3 million or $300 million to keep a guy, that's just insane. That is just nuts because you just don't see that. And when you're crying because if you care about the league, like a Bryce Harper or something, you should care about everybody getting paid, not just yourself, because that sounds like you're just being selfish in yourself. You're telling the commissioner, no, go after yourself. We're not doing this. But when other players want to get paid, and then you're trying to put a salary cap on to make it even. Oh no, 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 can't do that. And Bryce, I'll give you. You haven't won a World Series, my guy. So I don't know why you're worried about a salary cap. Team has not won the World Series. You've gone there, but you haven't won. So I don't want to hear about the complaining because at the same time, until you win the World Series, then you could talk. You have not won. The only thing you've gotten is paid, and you suck. And you suck at this. You don't suck, but you're making it worse for the league. You
I
suck
mean,
because you're
he
making it.
and he's not thinking about like the small guys in the clubhouse. There's a
No,
reason why the top of the top get paid so damn much is because they wait and they hold this money until a guy like that becomes available, so they can't even pay the small guys. Like
right.
think about guys in your own clubhouse outside of like I can understand not thinking big picture, full league. I don't want everybody to get paid because I want my money. But even the boys in your clubhouse, as far now, granted, I never played a whole lot of baseball outside of super young. I didn't play high school. I didn't play like that, right? But at the same time, like baseball is supposed to be an extremely camaraderie sport where the guys in your clubhouse are number one. So think about the small guys in your clubhouse or even in that farm system that practice with you every day. Think about those guys that aren't getting paid the amount of money that you're getting paid because their people are withholding that cash to try to bring guys like you in. Salary cap fixes that.
Yeah, and it's gonna fix it. And it just sucks that we're to this point. Remember, we had that lockout a couple years ago because of some stupid shit, and now we're gonna probably be back, and it's just all about the money. Everything else is probably good, and everybody probably agreeing on just the money, and it's gonna get ugly. And so we gotta enjoy this. We gotta enjoy this ride the next couple, or the 6 months there's baseball because after that, who knows when we're gonna see baseball again? And the summer might suck, and you gotta mentally prepare for it now because there's gonna be a summer where literally all we're gonna have is pretty much UFC. They're pretty much all we're gonna have. We gotta get to July before once we get to July, it gets a little easier because we'll have football, we'll have training camp after next season. So it's just we got to get there, but we got to enjoy this ride first. We have to enjoy the ride, and it's just very very weird that we're or sad that we're to this point. So we'll see on that. The MLB salary cap is going to be interesting debate. I'm sure you're going to hear about it through the next year or
Oh,
so,
at least.
especially once we get closer to September, October, when the negotiations are probably going to start. It ain't going to be pretty, so bear with it. We'll get it back at some point. It's just going to suck, for the diehards and also people that work. Like they're not getting. And and Mark, you talk about the people that aren't getting paid. Like the people that
Yeah.
run ballparks, well, the owners will, but the people that like the ground crew and all that, they're not getting paid. They're sometimes that's their life, and they're not
Yeah.
getting They don't. They're gonna not get paid. They're not gonna have a job because at some point, what do you like? I know there's two. Like, I'll deep dive. There's like two ground crews, at least on the Guardians, full time, part time, and the full timers they're there every day almost. But I mean, at some point, what are they gonna do? There's not much for them to do when there's gonna be no season, and they're not the players aren't thinking because they're greedy. They're greedy, and this is what they want, and it's just sad for the trickle down effect of the people that help run the stadium day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention the fact that you even think like I'll think about it from my point of view. Like I graduated with a sport management degree. That's how sometimes you get your foot in the door into pro sports is like low level things like that. So now you're taking away opportunities for your game to grow and grow younger, where you might be
Yep.
able to find somebody that could be in a front office someday, could be whatever, and you're basically taking that opportunity away, and they could go elsewhere, go completely out of sports. They can go to another sport that's low level, et cetera, et cetera. Like you're killing the way that your game can grow just because as a player you think that you deserve buku amounts of money and you're not expecting somebody else like even concession stands people like you talk about grounds crew you got concessions people that they work
Yep.
for a concession company they don't exactly work for the stadium they work for that company so if you lock out the whole entire stadium maybe that company never comes back to the mlb and cancels their contract because of all this like they're these players don't think big picture and small people like or you have janitorial services whatever like we can go on and on the list goes on and on but
Yeah.
like you're starting to mess with other people's livelihoods because you don't want some goofy salary cap that doesn't really affect you as a high paid player because they're going to find a way to pay you that money anyways. We've seen it in the ML or NBA. We've seen it in football. They find a way to pay the highest level people the amount that they're owed and due. That's never the worry.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very interesting, and it sucks for the people. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for the people that work there, and it's just because they want to be greedy. They want to do all this. So it's gonna be very interesting down the road to see how this all transpires in the next year. So we'll be watching it. I'm sure we'll provide up our analysis on it once the news continues to trickle in as we get closer to the end of the year and we start the negotiations. So let's real quick, Mark. We had UFC this past week, and it was a great card to welcome back to
Amazing
sport
card.
after a 6 month layoff. What did you think of the production on Paramount Plus compared to ESPN?
I as far as Paramount Plus goes, I kind of in the back of my head expected it, and I didn't know if it would come out this way or not. But it was very cinematic, which is obviously Paramount's claim to fame. They're a cinematic company, and I actually kind of did like it. Now, obviously, people were complaining about ads and whatever else. I mean, save me with that. At the end of the day, you're not paying $90 to get this on your TV once a month, twice a month. So if you had to sit with a couple of ads and you're only paying $10 a month to see an entire pay-per-view card like that, like kind of like Dana said, the company has to get paid too. If you'd rather pay $80 plus whatever subscription you have to take, then complain about ads, and then just don't watch. Because at
Right,
the end of the day, you're about to ruin it for the rest of us when you want to find something to complain about. You're paying $10 to see a card that we just paid $90 for just 3 months ago.
right.
So I mean, I thought the production was great. I know that I think they had there were some people complaining about some gaps, but at the same time, Paramount has like this was their first time, so they have to work out some kinks as far as connection issues, whatever else. But I didn't really experience a whole lot of downfall as far as that when ESPN did have its own problems as well. I thought it was, I mean, I thought it kind of went off without a hitch. I liked the pre main event and pre co main like cinematics. I thought that went really well. As far as that went, and I mean I was overall happy with the production of it all.
I loved it, and like you said, complain about the walkouts. Who the hell cares about walkouts? We see the same thing over and over again. They did show the championship walkout, which was
Yep,
good. If they show the championship walkout, that's good because that's the biggest fight of the night. Excuse me. And they're gonna have the crowd going as they did for Patty and
yep,
Gaethje, and it was a very great card. And the fact we get to do it again in literally like 5 days, well, 3 days when this comes out, but
yeah.
I cannot wait to do it again, and then we get a little layoff, and then we're back. Well, we still get fight nights, so it's not completely out of the realm. So the UFC is back. We're not going to bore you with all the details of the fights. It was a great card. Patty and Gaethje's card was
I
out
mean,
of
yeah,
the
that's a Hall of Fame fight. That's a Hall of
yeah.
Fame fight.
Judges were a little bit questionable, especially with the O'Malley fight. I thought maybe Yadong had that. I don't know. I mean, I know me and Mark, we kind of had a disagreement on that. I thought Yadong had that. Um, I think Silva kind of got Natalia Silva kind of got gifted that fight. Those are the
Yeah,
two
that
fights.
was the one. That was kind of the only blunder of a fight that I was like, well, I could have done without this. And just to kind of touch on that, why are we putting Rose Namajunas in May cards anymore when this is her second or third time of one of the most boring fights we could have possibly seen? At this point, I think it's time to just kind of go on and move her out. Let's put her on the prelims or something else. Like whatever, because this is the third time that she's had a historically boring fight where nothing happens for 3 or 5 rounds. It's literally ridiculous.
It's nuts, and it was a decent
Like
card.
11 needs to chill out.
And hey, we do know the White House card starts today. We probably won't know. Dana said at least maybe the second week of February we might know. Maybe we'll know next week at some point if we get some leaks. But they said he is starting from the ground up. I cannot wait. I know Dana's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
put his
excited.
gonna put full throttle to this. Hopefully, and we know some names being thrown around. Let's see. I'm sure Dana's got some up his sleeve. He's gonna pull the rabbit out of his hat. He ain't gonna go into this card, with one title. There might be three title fights for if we're being honest.
It's possible.
Just how big he wants to make this card. So it's gonna be nuts. We cannot wait for that, and hopefully we'll kind of dissect that when we do get that fight. When we do get the card, so in a couple of weeks, and then we'll have Steve. Our good guy. Steve's gonna come on and talk about the White House card when we get there in June. So we're very excited about that. Well, Mark, our first kind of quote unquote live on YouTube. What'd you think?
I mean, I thought it went pretty well. Of course, as always, we appreciate everybody that's been in supporting us, checking out the podcast, sharing the podcast all throughout. I know that we've had a couple of different changes with the show as far as how we cover things. I think you guys are starting to really enjoy how we're doing things. It seems like we've gotten nothing but positive feedback recently on kind of cutting some things down. Obviously, football is coming to an end, and we're about to start transitioning into some other sports. So all we ask is that you guys continue to bear with us there, because there's a lot of good stuff coming up. Obviously, we have next week coming up, which will be extremely exciting, and I know Kyle will probably touch on that here in a minute. But again, we appreciate all the support. There's a lot that goes into kind of figuring out what we want to talk about with you guys and for you guys day in and day out, week in and week out. And there's a lot of sports news that comes out daily, that we try to bring you guys as much as possible. And we just appreciate you guys for following us up to this point and continuing to follow us on our way up through this journey.
Excuse me, and kind of trumps everything. So we just wanted this was kind of a test run live just to see, but we will plan maybe we'll do it before the week of before Sean. Maybe we'll do that. Well,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it should be. At the end of the day, it should be all exciting, all regardless. Obviously, we have Sean and a couple other guests coming up that I know you guys are gonna love. We got the road show that you guys are gonna love. It'll all be very exciting. We have a bunch of great things coming ahead. So just be prepared and bear with us.
we got a doll in the back.
Yeah, we got a shiesty doll in the back just for you guys.
We got Snow Day Madness. That's here we
Oh
go.
yeah, if one thing I know about this is when you guys have snow days, just be prepared because there's a whole lot that goes on in this podcast and in this household. And when you got a foot of snow outside, you never know what comes out of that foot.
Yeah, so you never know what's Kevin. So okay, we're gonna tell if we make it this far, we're gonna tell you this right now. February 11th, Mark, we're gonna do it. We're gonna because that's the Wednesday, right? Wednesday.
I believe so. Yes.
Wednesday. So February 11th, the second Wednesday in February, we'll do a YouTube live at night at 9 o'clock. We're gonna do. I'm gonna Mark. I didn't tell you. Well, obviously you know now, but we're making stuff on the fly. That's what we're doing. We're putting stuff together on the fly. So we will promote it the next couple of weeks. We'll send the word out because now we want you in the chat. This was just a test run just to make sure we were good and we liked it. We liked it. We had people coming in, so we appreciate you all that come in. And again, we're sorry we didn't really read the chat. We're just trying to get this figured out and figure this out. So February 11th, we will do a YouTube live 9 o'clock Eastern PM right here on YouTube where we will interact with you because I'm sure it is going to be news, and that'll be we'll talk about the Super Bowl because that'll be the Wednesday after the Super Bowl. We'll talk about everything, and we will be able. So that's what we'll do. So we'll get Marketing Encounters February 11th right here. We will do a live YouTube. Please come in and interact. It's gonna be fun. We'll have some fun. We'll joke. And before you know it, we'll have some guests. So we're very excited to have some guests on the show as well in the following week. So all right, we got to run. We are done. It's a very exciting day as we might know who the Browns coach is. We might not. And of course, our luck, the news is going to break literally right when we get off, knowing
Yep,
our.
most likely.
So we got to run. We thank you all for listening and joining us. We love you. And we will see you next Wednesday only on the Final Whistle.